Top executives of some of Africa's development finance institutions, or AAFDI, have highlighted major challenges that the organizations face in securing adequate green funds financing for the continent. Some of the key issues include lack of quality projects, inadequate capital and technical capacity, as well as the absence of data. The CEO of Kenya's Development Corporation, Nora Ratemo, and chairman of the association, Thabo Thamane, spoke on these to Arise business correspondent Bosun Omofai at their annual meetings held earlier today at the margins of the Afdb summit in Nairobi, Kenya.
How much of green climate funding and financing is the Kenyan Development Corporation working on, or do you have on ground at the moment?
As Kenya Development Corporation, we currently have over $80 million that we are currently releasing to or supporting investors in the economy in regards to climate change. And these are in two different, these are climate shock funds actually. One is for management of drought, and the other one would be to be able to create a green fund that we are looking at scaling up to around $160 million or thereabout, so that we can be able to green businesses in Kenya.
My second question is about the AFDB annual meetings. Are you looking, speaking with your other colleagues, if there are other funds and partnerships that you're looking to secure, whether from the AFDB or from Afrexim Bank?
Oh, of course, these are actually the active engagements that are currently ongoing. And if you notice, the DFI's theme for this event and meetings is a practical roadmap to accessing green financing. So all institutions in Africa are suffering the same issue, which is access to these finances. So we are here to actually pitch and basically liaise with the various colleagues from African Development Bank, from other multinational DFIs, on how we can be able as financial institutions to easily access this funding, because again, access to it is also not easy. The requirements are quite lengthy, and by the time the funds come through, the projects are probably lost the feasibility or the viability by the time we're ready to do the investments.
As the chairman of the AADFI, give me a little bit of an overview of the DFI's scorecard for last year for Africa among your members.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to humanity. AADFI is an umbrella association of African DFIs within Africa, and its role is mostly promoting capacity building, resource mobilization, and sharing of information and knowledge across all the African DFIs, sharing human capital skills and others. In terms of the scorecard from last year's annual meetings, we made a resolution of creating a working group on finance climate. That is very key around resource mobilization, around green financing. And it's very important that last year's conference in Nairobi, the Nairobi Declaration on Climate Change, also spoke about green financing as a critical aspect of development finance. And today we are here, and the theme of today in terms of these annual general meetings is around green financing, and what a better way to actually leverage from last year's resolutions.
What is the outlook in terms of the performance of your members for 2024? What was the outlook in terms of the interventions you're able to do across the various very key sectors in Africa that are sorely needed? Infrastructure, agro-allied, energy, power, and more.
Okay, before we even get to the core aspects of those kind of developmental impact, one of the issues that we are really hammering upon our members is governance, governance, which is very, very key. One of the issues that is really troubling a lot of people around the DFIs across Africa is around the governance structures and those DFIs. And it is one of the issues that we really focus on around the PSGR as our rating instruments that we do, that we actually ask our members to self-rate themselves and improve the governance structures. Once that is done, then once you have the right governance framework, we can then be able to look at the development impact of the DFIs. And we've got different types of DFIs, when we rank them different. We've got the bigger ones, the multilateral ones, and the smaller ones. And the smaller ones learn from the bigger ones. I'm happy that now we see a lot more other bigger DFIs getting involved in infrastructure development across Africa. I mean, if there's no infrastructure, you can't start talking about digitization as an example. You need to have the relevant enabling environment around infrastructure development. So we're on the right path. a lot more DFRs in terms of the governments that are supporting it, that are supporting the DFRs, and it's important for shareholders, in this case government, to support the respective DFRs, because without that political support, they will not be able to achieve their strategies.
How does it all work out for you as the head of DFI for Botswana in Southern African region?
As a mid-sized DFI, I learn a lot from the other bigger DFIs. What we've done is that we've collaborated with them in terms of staff exchanges. That especially around project preparation. The bigger DFIs, for instance, like DBSA, they're quite experienced when it comes to project preparation. We learn from them, And in terms of advisory and capacity building, we learn from those things. I mean, coming from Botswana, where the DFIs are not many in number, and learning, for instance, from the likes of the Nigerian economy, where the DFIs are so huge, and being able to chair them, gives me satisfaction and gratitude that at least I'm learning from them, they're learning from me. And I think Botswana, as a beacon of democracy, is also an example of how other things can be done. We ride on that privilege, and that has been said by our four leaders in terms of saying, how do we do things in Botswana? What can other countries learn from us? And this is what I preach across as I travel the African continent.